Hey there, it's Matt, and I just want to make this quick video on how paid ads truly work in the context of an entire B2B, whether that's agency or any service based business inside that marketing funnel. So there's going to be four main types of ways to get customers: paid ads, content, outreach, partnerships. This one is going to focus on paid ads, like I said. So, right at the start, we can think of the actual ad as the top of funnel. We can think of any lead magnets that we are driving the ad to capture the leads as our middle of funnel. And then we can think of our webinars, our newsletter, our community, our appointment setter, our live workshops as the bottom of the funnel. So, paid ads, top of funnel, capture the lead with any kind of lead magnet or training or ebook or anything like that as the middle of funnel. And then we want to drive them through our thank you page and our email flows to our what I usually call conversion mechanisms, our webinar, etc. You can see, and then you drive that to the website to the sales call. So a lot of people really get quite a few things wrong here, and I'm not going to list those things. I'm going to just show how it should work in an ideal world. So the first thing we want to make sure before we even think about making an ad is that we have a bunch of different lead magnets. So most people have heard the term. It's not a revolutionary or a new term. It's just something that we can get leads with. So if you've ever done something like you've seen an ad, you click on a page and they want to get your name, email, phone number in exchange for some sort of checklist or value, that's a lead magnet. And there's lots of different types of lead magnets. The function of a lead magnet in the context of a paid ad funnel is only a few different things. The first thing, it's a way to get their contact information, of course. But more importantly, you can think of these lead magnets as a way to overcome objections preemptively at scale. So if we have our main service is landing pages, for example, we want to make a lead magnet to overcome every single objection that has to do with a landing page. And we can kind of divide this into a bunch of different subcategories. So what are different parts of a landing page? You have your site speed, you have your headlines, you have your hero images, you have your offers, you have your social proof, you have your just general copywriting outside the headlines, just your general images outside of the hero image. You have A/B testing, you have how to read data, and it could go on. So what you want to do is make a lead magnet that basically solves everything to do with these subcategories. So I make a lead magnet about how to make sure your website is as fast as possible, how to make a great hero image, and so on. So these lead magnets completely solve a narrow problem, because it's very important that we have multiple of these to solve every problem. For example, because let's say we only had one and we only had our site speed one in this example. There's a percentage of the market that doesn't care about site speed, maybe already has it handled, maybe they have a developer, they have a performance web background. If we only have this lead magnet, we're going to be missing this portion of the audience because that's just not going to be interesting to them. They've got that covered. But the same person might have problems with copywriting or might have problems with coming up with A/B tests. That is why we have to have all of these lead magnets. And it's very important that each lead magnet links to the other ones or the next one. So our site speed lead magnet should have a link at the end that goes to our headline lead magnet. And that one has a link at the end that goes to our hero image lead magnet. This is exactly what we have to do because we're overcoming objections at scale. If we have our lead magnets here and we have a separate campaign for each one of our lead magnets, that means everybody is going to be seeing all of them and they can kind of pick and choose which ones they want to download, which ones they don't. And we're addressing the entire market. As if I said, if we only have one or two lead magnets, there's going to be people who simply don't have the problem or they don't struggle with the problem that our lead magnet solves. It's not going to be interesting to them because of that. So that's why we have to have, if we're using a lead magnet type strategy, we have to have all of these lead magnets created and we have to be running ads to all of them and then bonus points if each one promotes the next one. So in this case, I'm highlighting it to show you all of the different entry points to our funnel. So if we're running paid ads to a lead magnet strategy, we have entry points to all of our funnel and we have cross promotion between all of these. And that is the ideal way to be as cost efficient and as universal with your paid ads as possible. Inside each of our lead magnets, and this can be the same for all of them, we also want to have different links. So when they sign up for the lead magnet, they would automatically be redirected to a thank you page, and they would automatically be entered into our email flows. So let's do an example of here. I'll pull up on the screen. So in our example, because I've got to practice what we preach here, this would be an example of one of my lead magnets. So it's a content plan for B2B businesses, personal brands, agencies, etc. I'm not going to sign in because I don't want to get my own emails. But when you sign up for this lead magnet here, you'll automatically be redirected to this thank you page, which is right here in the illustration. So this thank you page promotes a free webinar. So in this case, it will go down here. And if they like the webinar, they like what they see, the webinar finishes with a link to the website. And on the website, they of course book a call. The email flows will also promote the webinar. So as you can see here, we're from our top of funnel to our middle of funnel, and now we're pushing them to our bottom of funnel through the landing page, which goes to the webinar sign up right here. Practice what I preach, got to show you. And then the email flows, which I'm not going to show you on the screen here or in this video, also go to the webinar. You can kind of just take my word for that. From the webinar to the website. Similarly, you also have different options for that. You also could run your paid ads to a info product or digital product, same thing. And if you have used the same strategy here where you are solving all of the objections, but the info product basically just does that, you'll also have another path to your website and a sales call through the info product. So there's lots and lots of different ways, and there's lots and lots of different funnels. So you have your newsletter funnel, you have your group funnel, you have your VSL funnel, you have your paid product funnel. When you're using a newsletter or a group funnel, it basically is always going to be towards some form of lead magnet, because the lead magnets do a couple things. They'll get you a lower cost per lead than just saying sign up for my newsletter, because they're getting something. And when you do the ads right, they'll only be relevant or desirable to your target market, right? If your ad here is, Shopify store owners, download this free site speed checklist, which will increase your conversion rate. When you do your ads properly and you call out your target market and do the result like that, one, if they don't have a Shopify store, why would they download this? If they're not thinking about or currently running or thinking about buying a landing page, it's not going to be interesting to them. If they don't use a landing page or even know what that is, it's not going to be interesting to them. So we have to make these lead magnets, but also make our ads so just by the framing of it, it's only interesting to our target audience. So if we want a newsletter ad, it's the same process at the top, same thing here, but now we go from our newsletter, and then over time, we nurture them, we get them to like, trust us, view us as an expert, so that when they are ready, and this is kind of at their own pace, they eventually go to the same end result. It's just a different way of getting there. The webinar would be more of a VSL funnel. You can kind of think of it like that. You can also think the live workshop is the same sort of thing. And then what I said, another one, I said there's also a group funnel. So we do the same thing. We have the same paths here, but instead of going to the VSL, webinar, live workshop, or newsletter, we go through our community, which would be a group in this case. And we still end up at the same place. The very nice thing about all of this is you see that in this example, we're only getting their email address, which is a low friction way to do it. It's going to give you the cheapest cost per lead. That's the main benefit or the main pro here. But of course, the con is that doesn't really tell us about anything about them. They could be using a Gmail. They could be using Outlook. They're not necessarily putting in their business email to the point where we could look them up and see if they're a good fit. But it's still necessary to do it like this, or our cost per lead will be very high, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 times higher than just asking for their email. So how we counteract this is with these things to get our newsletter or community or live workshop or webinar, just sign up for that. And I'm going to do that here. I'm just going to put my email address in as an example. Oh, let's see. My goodness, just butchering the video right here. So when they want to sign up for a webinar, this is where we kind of get them. This is how we enrich our data in a way that's seamless. Because it's a webinar, that's going to be more desirable than just a content lead magnet, for example. It's inherently going to be more value. So they're, in general, we already got their email, so we're good there. We're getting a good cost per lead. But now to get this, they have to put in their work email or a business email. They have to put in their first name, last name, phone number, website. You could add revenue here. You could add how many employees are in your company. And this is a way to enrich our data without doing it at the start, which will lead to a very, very high cost per lead. So we kind of use this to overcome the main disadvantage of doing it this way. And then we can see, now that we have this data, now that we have their name, email, phone number, company, we can get our appointment setter to also send them text messages, email, call them to get them to book a call. So we kind of have, with our paid ads, when we do it right like this, and we don't just do a stupid, let me just draw it. This is what most people do. They have a paid ad, please buy my recurring service. I'm going to cancel that because it's just traumatic to look at that. And that's what 99% of people do. When we do it like this, we have just an amazing way to get the 8 different entry points, 9 different entry points, 10 different entry points if we include this. And then we also have a nice seamless continuation through our thank you page, through our email flows, many different ways to convert them from just a subscriber to someone who we have all of their information and enriched data, someone who is a real person with their name, phone number, website, etc. And if we have a great webinar, we have a great live workshop, we have a great community, we have a great newsletter, our appointment setters on the ball, we are going to convert so many of these to sales calls where we can sell them our one-time recurring program or course. And that is just how a paid ad funnel works when it's set up properly. It's very sophisticated, except simple. Like, think of this. What do you really have to do? You have to make these lead magnets, which will take however much time. You got to make a thank you page, not a crazy design or anything. Email flows, you can make them pretty basic, and then set up all this stuff. You do this one time, and then you're kind of set for life. And now you're spending $10 per day on each lead magnet. You're pulling in 100 leads for your newsletter or community. You're converting, 30% of these sign up for one of these things, and you convert 10% of those people. You're going to get a 1, 2, 3% overall conversion rate from subscriber to actual client. There's a sales cycle, of course, but this is actually how it works in a bird's eye view in a diagram like this, because it can be kind of hard to conceptualize when you're just talking and brainstorming and thinking about this. But when you lay it out here and you have your paid ads, we've overcome almost all of the objections through our lead magnets. We're pushing them to something where we can enrich the data and prove ourselves and further, overcome objections to the point where they get to our website. We have, our case studies, we have some videos, we have some testimonials, we have a VSL, to the point where they get to this stage and get on the sales call. They're ready to buy. We don't have to do all the traditional sales stuff like build rapport and find their pain points and all that nonsense. We've already overcome all of this automatically at scale just by having a proper paid ad funnel that's well designed and complete, for lack of a better term. So I hope this was helpful. It's very easy to understand when someone explains it to you like this. I hope so, especially when you have a diagram like this. That is how a top 0.1% paid ad funnel works, and there's lots of different options for you to do it. The newsletter funnel, the group funnel, the VSL webinar funnel, and then the paid product funnel. It's a matter of preference. It's what fits you the best and what you like the best, as well as what fits your offer the best. All of them go to the same point. It's just a matter of what tool you use to get there. So hopefully this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.